Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If in case you didn't realize, I'm on a mission to support you to develop a healthy relationship with yourself, a safe space within yourself so that you can show up more authentically. And one of the ways that I want to support you to do that today is to talk about a resource that I have found to be super, super helpful in my work with clients, in my own personal and professional life, and also during vision board workshops, which I run probably a few times a year. In developing a healthy relationship with ourselves, there's many things that we avoid thinking about, and so don't necessarily know the reality of where we are now, because maybe it's scary, maybe it's triggering, maybe you're still thinking about, the shame attached to the choices that you've made in the past. But in order to move forward, we have to be able to look at where we are now and be really honest with ourselves. So I want to encourage you to use this tool. It's called the Wheel of Life. And it can be the wheel of anything, to be honest. It can be the wheel of health. It can be the wheel of spiritual healing, which I'll go through. And it can be the wheel of fitness or whatever it is that you want to, create a visual representation for in terms of where you are now. And then I'm going to support you to think about how you can make sure that you're using that tool to think about the vision of where you want to get to. So for me, when I first started, I thought for some reason it was important for me to download something and make it really create some pressure around it to make it look good. It doesn't need to look good. So what I want to encourage you to do is, yes, you can obviously download it from online. I will find one and I will put it into the description box so that you can download one. Or you can just get your notebook, get your pen, get your colors. I like to use colors, and draw a circle. It doesn't matter what kind of circle it is. This is just for you. Okay. So I don't want you pressuring yourself to get the perfect circle. Okay. So you've got a circle now. You draw 8 segments of that circle. So if you think of the circle as a pie, you want 8 pieces of pie to share out, essentially. So you want to divide it into 8. And each of those segments will represent areas of your life that you find important. Okay. So, or if you're using it for your healing journey, for example, then you can put 8 segments of your healing that you have acknowledged, or essentially are important for you to be able to move forward in that journey. So if I give you an example for your healing journey, let's say you want to create this wheel of life as a representation of where you are now in your healing journey. You might think, okay, so what areas are important? It might be that you do emotional regulation, boundaries, addressing your needs, emotional intelligence, maybe boundaries, or how you feel. Maybe you think you understand that you need to work on managing your anxiety, or you want to work on communicating more effectively in the relationships you have. Okay, so that's one example. So in each of those segments, you would put one of those things. And then if you were thinking more general, which is the direction that I usually take it, the segments are more like I've got career / business, so that both of those things for me match up. I've got finance, I've got health, I've got social, fitness, spirituality, personal development, and relationships. There's other things you can add in there as well. If you're thinking more specific to yourself, you can also add religion, you can add love, you can add family relationships if you want to be more specific. You can add hobbies, whatever it might be. So all of the areas in your life that you say are very important to you. Not to say that the areas that are not on there are not important, but just these areas are the ones that you want to focus on in order to move forward with the thing that is linked to this wheel of life in particular. So I will use the more general sense. So with the personal development, relationships, finance, those kind of things. Okay. So once you've labeled 8 of those pieces of pie / 8 segments of your circle, I want you to go through and I want you to go through and give each segment a score or a rating out of 10. 0 being the not very good, as in non-existent. So if, for example, some people might say that their social life is non-existent, so they might put that down as a 0, okay? But then if their social life was really good, they might say it's a 10. It's not likely that many areas that you do place importance on will always be a 10, you know? It's purely based on what the way in which that you want to rate it, but it's normal for there not to be 10s across the board. The important thing is to recognize where you are now. You know, before where I said you need to be honest with yourself, okay? This is a tool that allows you to look visually at where you are. And if you're putting everything as a 10, then what's the point? What's the point of acknowledging where there is an area for development, okay? This is just for you. You can even rip it up if you want to throw it away afterwards once you've seen it and you take away the next steps, the things that I'm going to encourage you to do next, okay? So you can color it. So I sometimes like to color it. So one of the things that I did on mine is like to color, just because I like things. When I look at things, I like to have some sort of emotion to it. So the colors represented that for me in terms of the different areas. So I had relationships that was in yellow, finance was in blue, career was in green, that kind of thing. But you can do anything, or you can leave it absolutely blank, or like I said, you can just throw it away if you want. The next step is the reflective side, okay? So when you're reflecting on where you are now, what I want you to do is write a very short blurb or very short paragraph to just reflect on why you have given that segment of your circle that score, okay? And again, like I said, I really want to encourage you to be honest with yourself. So, for example, if I was talking about socializing, if my socializing was like a 2, but actually I recognize that I want it to be more than that, maybe in my reflection, I would say, okay, so actually a lot of my focus has been on my health or my spiritual growth in the last 6 to 10 months or whatever. And so socializing with other people hasn't necessarily been my priority, but it is something that is important to me, for example. Then I want you to think of just one thing to take whatever score you've given it. So let's say you've given it a 5 or a 2 or whatever. Just think of one thing. And if you really want to push yourself, think of 2 things that will take that area that you're assessing and reflecting on from where it is to 1 point extra. That's all I want you to do. What is it that would take it from being a 4 to being a 5? And it's really, really important that I stress this, because I think one of the things that happens a lot of the time is that people want everything to be a 10 or everything to look and be amazing. But not everything is going to be perfect all the time. You're not going to have calm and peace and happiness in every area of your life all the time, but you can definitely strive for it. And I find that sometimes if something is a 3, for example, trying to think about how to get a 3 to a 7 is not necessarily the easiest thing. But if you do 3 to a 4 or 3 to a 5 at most, then you can reassess in a month or so, even 2-3 weeks, 6 weeks, if that's what you want to do. You can reassess and you can say, okay, so now I'm at a 5. How do I get it to be a 6 or a 7? So set those goals that are realistic, just to take it from what point it is. So it's a 3, and I want to think about how I can get it to a 4. So if I take socializing as the example, let's say socializing is a 3, and I say, so what could I do with socializing to take it from a 3 to a 4? And it might be to schedule meeting up with friends once a month, because then I look back and I'll be like, okay, actually once a month is okay for me because I'm getting back into it. So if it's for you, you might say, okay, so I want to take socializing really seriously. So I want to at least meet some of my friends or a friend at least once a week. That would be taking it from the 3 to taking it to the 4. Okay. Then if you were to think, okay, well, I'll take it to a 5 now, you might think, okay, well, now I want to socialize in the week. I want to create some sort of system for myself where I am messaging and talking to my friends throughout the week, because that's also socializing. Think about it like that. And slowly you will be able to develop that area into your life to reflect, actually, I'm feeling pretty good about this. And that brings me on to my next point. Feeling pretty good or feeling happy with where things are, you might put something as a 3 and actually you're like, I am happy for that to be a 3. That is actually pretty good for me. So there is no criteria, there is no rules as to what each area should be. For example, if you have a challenging relationship with your family, but family is important to you, actually keeping it at a 3 is where you want it to be. And you're not ready or you're not open to exploring the ways in which you could improve that area, if that makes sense. So that's pretty much it. That's the activity. Draw the circle, split them into segments, name each segment, rate each segment, write a paragraph, small paragraph, just reflecting on why you've given it that score, and then think of 1 or 2 things to bring it up from where it is, what score you've given it to 1 point more, at most 2 points more. That's all I want you to focus on. It's very difficult to figure out where you want to go if you are not willing to look at where you are now. And that is the beauty of this tool. Okay. It gives a representation of where you are now. And then, as I said, in the second part of that, in the second part of the activity, it gives you an opportunity to think about, okay, so where do I want to get to? And as time goes on and the more often you do this, you will find that things go up and down. Because like I said, sometimes you can't necessarily have everything at a great level. That's unrealistic. One of the things that I really want you to take away from this when you are doing this activity is to find your voice of compassion. Please find your voice of compassion, because what I find is that sometimes if you're so used to being the person to criticize where you are and why and whose fault it is and when you should have done this thing and how long you've been putting off XYZ, it doesn't help. Okay, it doesn't help. So if you were to think of like a friend who had come to you and said, hey, look, I've got all these things that I want to do. This is where I am in life and I want to move forward. Imagine you coming in and being like, yeah, but haven't you been saying that you've wanted to do that for ages? Why haven't you done it yet? Like, that's not helpful. And you know it's not helpful. And I would hope anyway that you know that it's not helpful. So you don't deserve to be treated like that. And so in developing a healthier relationship with yourself, the gateway to that is to develop that voice of compassion, because I know that it's there. This is about observing, giving yourself a chance to look at it objectively, not a chance to make judgment on why this is there and that is wherever. Okay. So I really, really want to stress that. On that note, I'm going to leave you. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are and if you are looking forward to trying it. And if you do try it, let me know. Let me know how you get on. If you have any questions, please ask. And I think that's about it from me. So I hope to see you again next time. Please remember to subscribe. Okay. Bye.